You know, every single car you see on the road, whether it's the family SUV or a jaw-dropping supercar, it all started as just an idea, a sketch on a piece of paper. So how does it get from that initial spark to the polished metals sitting in a showroom? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the fascinating, high-stakes journey of automotive body design. Right, this is the big question, isn't it? It's a process that's this incredible mix of old-school artistry, we're talking hands-on sculpting, and some of the most cutting-edge technology on the planet. And trust me, it's way more hands-on than you probably think. So here's our roadmap. We're going to break it all down into 5 key stages. We'll start with that first creative spark, then jump into the digital world. After that, we'll see how billion-dollar decisions get made over a giant clay sculpture, then watch how that shape gets locked in for production, and finally, we'll take a little peek at what's coming down the road. So where does this whole journey begin? Well, it's not with a designer just sitting around daydreaming. Nope. It all starts with a very, very specific set of instructions. It all kicks off with this document called a design brief. It comes from the marketing and product planning folks, and it basically says, hey, we need a car for this kind of person, it has to cost this much to build, and oh yeah, it has to fit on this existing framework. So you see, designers aren't just making pretty pictures, they're solving a really complex puzzle from day one. And this shows you that whole process in a nutshell. Over on the left, you've got that raw electric energy of an early sketch. It's all about capturing a feeling, an attitude. Then on the right, you see how that idea gets refined into a slick digital rendering, something you can actually show the bosses to get them excited about the vision. Now, here's what's so cool about this. In our super high-tech world, you'd think everything starts on a screen, right? But almost always, it begins with good old-fashioned pen and paper. As designer Murad Bastez says, these analog tools are just better for getting ideas out fast. You could explore dozens of concepts without getting hung up on software clicks and menus. Okay, so once a promising 2D sketch gets the nod, the idea has to prove it can actually, exist in the real world. And that's when we enter the digital realm. This is where that beautiful, flowing art slams right into the hard reality of engineering. Using really powerful software, digital sculptors take those pen strokes and translate them into a precise 3D model. This lets them spin it around, look at it from every angle, and, most importantly, see if the beautiful shape they drew can actually fit all the engine bits and pieces underneath. And all those mechanical parts? In the industry, they call that the package. Just think of it like the car's skeleton. It's the chassis, the engine placement, the wheels, all the non-negotiable stuff. The designers and engineers agree on this early on, and the final body design absolutely must wrap around this package perfectly. It's the first big reality check for any cool new sketch. All right, now we get to the most surprising part of this whole thing. I mean, honestly, this is the part that blows people's minds. With all the incredible digital tools we just talked about, the biggest, most expensive decisions are made by hand, by sculpting a full-size car out of industrial clay. And listen, this isn't some new gimmick. This technique is almost 100 years old. It was pioneered back in the 30s by the absolute legend GM designer Harley Earl. See, he figured out that sculpting with clay was way faster and let him create more flowing organic shapes than carving wood. And what's incredible is that today it is still the gold standard. And when I say full size, I mean it. These things are massive. A 1-to-1 scale clay model of a car can weigh up to 2.5 tons. They start with a basic metal and foam frame called an armature, and then they layer on this special heated industrial clay, bit by bit. The people who sculpt these are true artists. They use these incredible tools, rakes and saw-like blades to get the rough shape, and then these long, flexible steel sheets to scrape the surface until it's absolutely perfect. And for the final touch, they apply this special film that mimics car paint so they can see exactly how light and reflections will play across the body in the real world. So here's the moment of truth. After weeks of sculpting, this giant, perfect clay car is wheeled into a room for the top executives. This quote really captures the tension. The decision to say yes to this shape, well, that's a commitment of hundreds of millions, sometimes even billions of dollars. No pressure, right? So why on earth is clay still so critical? Well, this is why. Digital models are perfect for precision, for making sure everything fits to the millimeter. But clay,
Clay is about the human touch. It lets a designer physically feel a curve, to see with their own eyes how real light hits it, and to make a tiny change with their hands in just a few minutes, a tweak that could take hours to render on a computer. They don't replace each other, they're partners in the process.
Okay, so the billion-dollar gamble pays off. The clay model gets the green light. Now, that beautiful, handcrafted sculpture has to be translated back into a perfect digital blueprint so they can, actually build the thing.
And this is where you hear the term Class A surface. It's the industry's obsession. It basically means a mathematically perfect surface, where every curve flows so smoothly that reflections move across it without a single ripple or distortion. Seriously, the next time you see a perfect, unbroken reflection of the horizon on a car door, you're looking at a Class A surface. It's the mark of quality.
And the process is super methodical. First, they scan that approved clay model with lasers, capturing every single subtle, handmade curve. Then, digital sculptors use that scan data almost like a tracing guide, rebuilding the entire car in CAD to make sure every single surface meets that flawless Class A standard. That final digital file, it becomes the Bible for the whole company, dictating how every single manufacturing tool is made.
So we've made it from a simple sketch all the way to a production-ready digital model. But what's next? You have to wonder, are the days of those clay modelers numbered? Well, not so fast. It turns out, technology isn't really replacing the process so much as it's augmenting it. The lines are blurring. I mean, designers are now using augmented reality to project digital headlight designs right onto a physical clay model. AI can spit out thousands of starting ideas in minutes. The whole workflow is just getting faster, more seamless, and more integrated. Which really brings us to the big final question, doesn't it? This whole process is this incredible dance between human intuition and digital precision. So as those digital tools get smarter and smarter, will that make the unique touch of the artist, that gut feeling for a perfect curve, the stroke of a pen, the scrape of a clay tool, even more valuable? Will it become the one thing that truly separates a great car from a forgettable one? It's definitely something to think about the next time you see a car that just stops you in your tracks.